The containment field hummed with that satisfying purple glow that meant we had finally, after 3 cycles of planning, successfully captured a human specimen. Ma'am, Vrelt, senior xenobiologist aboard the research vessel Infinite Curiosity, and let me tell you something about my species, the Corvathians. We are meticulous. We are patient. We have cataloged over 4,000 sentient species across this galaxy, and not once, not a single time has any of them posed a problem during standard collection procedures. Humans, we assumed, would be no different. How gloriously, catastrophically wrong we were. The human male sat in the center of the containment cell, cross-legged on the floor, eating what appeared to be some kind of compressed nutrition bar he had somehow smuggled in his clothing. He looked utterly unconcerned. Actually, scratch that. He looked bored. Subject appears calm. I dictated into my recording device my 3 eye stalks focused on different angles of observation, possibly in shock from the transportation beam. This is normal. Most species require several time units to process their new reality. The human looked directly at me through the transparent aluminum barrier. Hey, he said, his mouth still partially full.
You guys got any water?
This protein bar is drier than my ex-wife's sense of humor. I froze. My assistant Plixo made a small chirping sound of confusion. That it calls to speak standard Galactic, Plixo asked, his scales rippling with uncertainty. Impossible, I said. We have not installed translation nanites yet. The linguistic download does not occur until phase 7 of the integration process. The human stood up, brushing crumbs off his strange blue leg coverings. He was tall, much taller than our initial scans had suggested. His species averaged around 1.8 meters, but this one had to be at least 1.9. He had dark hair, darker skin, and the kind of facial expression that I would later learn to identify as deeply unimpressed. Listen, he said, walking right up to the barrier and tapping it with his knuckle. The containment field flickered, just slightly, but it flickered. I know what this is. You are aliens. I have been abducted. This is either a really elaborate prank by my coworkers or I am genuinely on some kind of spaceship, given that I can see 3 moons through that window over there, and I am pretty sure Earth only has 1. I am going with spaceship. Plixo's mouth opened and closed soundlessly. The subject should not be capable of this level of coherent analysis, I muttered. The transportation process typically induces temporary cognitive disruption in most species. The human brain should be experiencing significant disorientation. Oh, I am disoriented, the human said cheerfully. I am very disoriented. I was in the middle of fixing my truck, which had broken down on Route 66, which is this terrible highway in the desert, and then suddenly there was a bright light and a weird pulling sensation. And now I am here talking to what looks like a purple octopus and his friend, who I swear to God, looks exactly like a gecko that somebody stretched in Photoshop. What is Photoshop? Plixo whispered to me. I have no idea, I admitted. The human started pacing, not frantically, just casually, like he was thinking through a problem. So here is what is going to happen. You are going to tell me why you kidnapped me, what you want and how long this is going to take, because I have a transmission that needs replacing, and I promised my daughter I would pick her up from soccer practice tomorrow. Her name is Maya. She is 8. She has a game on Saturday. I cannot miss that game. The specimen is exhibiting attachment behavior to juvenile offspring. I noted into my recorder. This is consistent with pack bonding tendencies observed in preliminary data. Did you just call me a specimen? The human stopped pacing and stared at me.
Buddy? Friend?
Tentacle guy. I have a name. It is Marcus. Marcus Webb. You want to write that down in your little space diary there? This was not going according to protocol. All not even remotely close. Marcus Webb, I said slowly, testing the sounds. They felt strange in my vocal sac. I am Vrelt. This is Plixo. You have been selected for a routine xenobiological study. Your species has recently achieved the preliminary markers of spacefaring civilization, atomic manipulation, digital computation, rudimentary satellite deployment. As per Galactic Council regulations, we are authorized to collect specimens from developing worlds for scientific analysis and cultural documentation. Marcus Webb blinked. You want to study me? Correct. Like a lab rat. I do not know what a rat is, but if it is a subject of scientific inquiry, then yes, the comparison is apartment. And you just what, grab people off their own planet, without asking? You do not see anything wrong with that? I tilted my primary eye stalk. Wrong? We are providing your species with a tremendous honor. The data we collect will be entered into the Galactic archives. Your entire civilization will be documented for all time. Future generations of countless species will study your biology, your culture, your achievements. Uh-huh. Marcus crossed his arms. And did you ask Earth if that was cool? Did you check with, I do not know, the United Nations, any government, anyone? Your species does not have unified planetary governance. Plixo interjected, trying to be helpful. Requesting permission would require navigating approximately 195 separate political entities. The bureaucratic processing time would exceed several solar cycles. This way is much more efficient. Marcus laughed. It was not a pleasant laugh. It was the kind of laugh that made my skin membranes tighten with instinctive wariness. Efficient, he repeated. Okay, sure. So you just steal people for science. Got it. Cool. Very ethical. I am sure that will not cause any problems at all. Your sarcasm is noted, I said stiffly. However, you should understand that resistance is illogical. This vessel is equipped with technology far beyond your current understanding. You cannot escape. You cannot overpower us. The most rational course of action is cooperation. Marcus smiled. It was not a friendly smile. You know what is funny? He said. I used to be in the Army, United States Army. Did 2 tours in Afghanistan. You know what we learned real quick over there? Technology does not mean everything. You can have all the fancy gear in the world, but if you do not understand the terrain, if you do not understand the people, if you underestimate your opponent, you are going to have a very bad time. Your primitive military experience is irrelevant, I said, though something in my tertiary brainstem was sending warning signals. This is not a combat situation. Not yet, Marcus said quietly. The lights in the lab flickered. Both Plixo and I looked up in alarm. The Infinite Curiosity had state-of-the-art power systems. Flickering lights should be impossible. Plixo, I said, run a diagnostic on the electrical grid. Already on it, he muttered, his claws dancing over the holographic interface. This is strange. There is a power fluctuation in Section 7. That is where the human's containment cell is drawing energy from. We both looked at Marcus. He was leaning against the barrier again, one hand pressed flat against the transparent aluminum. He was not doing anything obvious, just standing there, waiting. What did you do? I demanded. May? Marcus raised his eyebrows in exaggerated innocence. I did not do anything. I am just a primitive human specimen, remember? What could I possibly do against your advanced alien technology? The lights flickered again, longer this time. Then, with a sound like reality hiccuping, the containment field deactivated. Marcus Webb stepped out of the cell. So, he said, cracking his knuckles in a gesture that I would later learn was very, very bad news. Who wants to tell me where you keep the communications equipment, because I really need to make a phone call. Plixo made a sound that I can only describe as a squeak of pure terror. A reach for the emergency alert button, but Marcus was already moving. Humans, I discovered in that moment, are terrifyingly fast when motivated. He crossed the 5-meter distance between us in less than a second, his hand closing around my manipulator appendage before I could complete the motion. Easy there, Vrelt, he said. His grip was not painful, but it was absolutely firm, unyielding. Nobody needs to panic. I am not going to hurt anyone. I just want answers, and I want to go home. Think you can manage that?
How did you disable the containment field? I gasped.
Marcus grinned. Static electricity.
Your barrier was electromagnetic, right?
I could feel the hum, so I shuffled my feet on the floor for about 5 minutes while you were monologuing about galactic protocols or whatever. Built up a charge, touched the field at just the right spot, created a feedback loop. The system tried to compensate, overloaded, and shut down. We learned about this stuff in like 9th grade science class. That should not be possible, Plixo whimpered. Yeah. Well, here is the thing about humans. Marcus released my appendage and stepped back, though he positioned himself between us and the exit. We are really good at breaking things, especially things we are not supposed to break. It is kind of our whole deal. You might want to update your database on that. An alarm finally started blaring. Red emergency lights bathed the laboratory in crimson. Oh good, Marcus said. Company, this should be fun. The door burst open, and 4 security officers rushed in. They were Krythani, Big insectoid species with natural armor plating and mandibles that could crush duraplast. They carried shock staffs. Standard protocol for containment breaches. They took one look at Marcus, standing free in the middle of the lab, and charged. What happened next? I still have trouble believing, even though I witnessed it with all three of my eyes. Marcus did not run, did not try to hide. He stepped forward to meet them. The first Chrythani swung his shock staff in a wide arc. Marcus ducked under it, grabbed the shaft with both hands, and used the alien's own momentum to flip him over and into the second guard. They went down in a tangle of limbs and confusion. The third guard tried to grab Marcus from behind. Humans, it turns out, have excellent situational awareness. Marcus dropped low, drove his elbow backward into what I presumed was a vulnerable joint, and when the guard's grip loosened, spun and delivered a strike to another joint that made the Chrythani collapse with a shriek. The fourth guard, showing more intelligence than his companions, stopped and raised his shock staff defensively. Marcus raised his hands in a peaceful gesture. "Look," he said, breathing only slightly harder than normal. "I do not want to fight. I just want to go home. You let me go? Nobody else gets hurt, and we can all forget this happened. Sound good?" The guard looked at his three incapacitated colleagues, looked at Marcus, looked at me. Then he dropped his shock staff and ran. "Smart bug," Marcus muttered. "I finally found my voice. You just assaulted 4 trained security personnel. You do realize this changes everything? You were a research subject. Now you are a hostile entity. The ship's computer will classify you as a threat. Automated defense systems will activate. You cannot possibly fight an entire vessel." Marcus picked up one of the dropped shock staffs, examined it for a moment, then tucked it through his belt like some kind of primitive weapon. "Vrold," he said, "I am going to share something with you. A little insight into human nature. We are what you might call an invasive species. We show up in places we do not belong. We figure out how things work, and then we make those places belong to us. We climbed out of caves and ended up running the entire planet. Every ecosystem, every environment. We went to the moon just because it was there. We split the atom. We created artificial intelligence. We invented nuclear weapons capable of destroying our whole world. And then we built enough of them to do it several times over, just to make a point." He started walking toward the door. "You took me away from my daughter," he continued, his voice dropping to something cold and dangerous. "You took me away from my life. You treated me like a thing, instead of a person. So yeah, I am going to fight your whole ship if I have to. And you know what the really scary part is?" He looked back at me, and I saw something in his eyes that made my survival instincts scream. "I am not even mad yet. This is me being reasonable." Then he walked out into the corridor, and somewhere in the distance more alarms started wailing. Plixo looked at me with all 4 of his eyes wide with panic. "What have we done?" he whispered. I did not have an answer. I was too busy updating my research notes. New observation. Humans are significantly more dangerous than preliminary data suggested. Recommend immediate protocol revision. Possibly recommend avoiding human contact altogether. Possibly recommend never going near Earth again for any reason whatsoever. The sound of something expensive breaking echoed down the hallway, followed by Marcus Webb's voice shouting something about finding the bridge. Yes, definitely recommend avoiding humans. Assuming any of us survived the next few hours to file that recommendation. Captain Delanara was having what she would later describe in her incident report as the worst day of her 40-cycle career in the Galactic Survey Fleet. She sat in her command chair on the bridge of the Infinite Curiosity, all 6 of her limbs gripping the armrests as her communications officer shouted increasingly alarming updates. Another security team down on Deck 4. Environmental controls have been manually overridden in Section 12. Someone has locked out the automated defense grid using a security bypass that should not exist. The Lanara species, the Vixorians, prided themselves on logical thinking and emotional control. She was currently testing the absolute limits of both. "Explain to me," she said with forced calm, "how a single specimen from a barely spacefaring world has incapacitated 23 of my crew, seized control of 3 major systems, and is apparently making his way toward my bridge." Vrold, who had been summoned to explain the situation, made a sort of gurgling noise that indicated extreme stress. "Captain, I believe we may have underestimated human adaptability, and resourcefulness, and aggression levels, and pain tolerance, and problem-solving capabilities, and I get the idea, Vralt. Also, Plixo added helpfully, he says he just wants to use the communications array to call his daughter, but he is willing to dismantle the ship piece by piece to do it. How is he dismantling anything? He has no tools. He is using our tools, Captain. He took them from engineering, after he learned how they worked, which took him approximately 6 minutes. The Lanara felt a headache forming behind her primary optical sensors. 6 minutes. He appears to have an intuitive understanding of mechanical systems. He looked at our molecular spanner for 30 seconds, said something about it being, quote, basically just a space wrench, unquote, and then used it to remove a wall panel and access the ship's secondary power conduits. The bridge door suddenly sparked and began to glow orange along its seam. Every member of the bridge crew turned to stare. Is he cutting through the door? The tactical officer asked in disbelief. That is a reinforced titanium composite rated to withstand direct plasma fire, Leather said slowly. It cannot be cut without specialized equipment. The orange glow intensified. A molten metal began to drip. He found the plasma torch in engineering. Vralt offered weakly.
I think he is using specialized equipment.
Why did nobody stop him in engineering? They tried, Captain.
He wedged the door shut with a piece of conduit and rerouted their air supply until they agreed to take a nap, as he put it. He assured them through the ventilation grate that he would let them out once he was done and that he was, quote, really sorry about this, but you guys started it, unquote. The Lanara made a decision. She reached for her sidearm. Around the bridge, her crew did the same. 15 weapons trained on the door. When he comes through, she said quietly. We stun him. Maximum setting. No warnings. The door fell inward, with a heavy clang. Marcus Webb stepped through the smoke, covered in soot and what appeared to be coolant fluid. He still had the shock staff tucked in his belt. He had also acquired a tool harness, several devices of unknown purpose, and what looked like someone's lunch container. He saw the weapons pointed at him and stopped. Okay, he said, raising his hands. Before anybody shoots, I just want to say that this has all been a huge misunderstanding. I am not a violent person. I work in auto repair. I fix transmissions. I help old ladies jumpstart their cars. I coach Little League baseball on weekends. You have assaulted 23 crew members, the Lanara said coldly. Assaulted is a strong word. I would say I gently encourage them to take a break. Nobody is seriously hurt.
I checked. I used to be a combat medic.
I know how to incapacitate without causing permanent damage. You have seized control of ship systems. I borrowed control. I will give it back. So, I just need to make one call. One call and I will cooperate with whatever you want. Studies, tests, cultural exchange, whatever. But my daughter does not know where I am. Do you understand what that means? She is 8 years old. She is going to think I abandoned her. She is going to think I did not care enough to show up. There was something in his voice that made the later hesitate. Pain. Real, genuine pain. This is your offspring, she said carefully. Yes. You are willing to fight an entire ship for the ability to communicate with her. Captain, I would fight an entire fleet. I would fight your whole galaxy if that is what it took. She is my daughter. That is what humans do. We protect our families. We do not give up. We do not surrender. Ever. The Lanara lowered her weapon slightly. Your emotional attachment to juvenile offspring is notably intense. Marcus laughed. But it was not harsh this time. It was sad. You do not have kids, do you? My species reproduces through spore distribution. Parental bonding is minimal. Then you cannot understand. But I am asking you, hold one intelligent being to another. Please. Let me tell her I am okay. That is all I want. The captain looked at Vralt. Is this typical human behavior? According to our database, humans form extremely strong familial bonds. Their willingness to sacrifice for offspring exceeds almost any species on record. There are documented cases of human parents lifting vehicles, fighting dangerous predators and enduring extreme conditions to protect their young. It appears to be a core aspect of their psychology. The Lanara made a decision that would later be cited in revised first contact protocols. Lower your weapons, she ordered. Her crew looked at her in shock but obeyed. She stood from her command chair and approached Marcus. Slowly. If I allow you to send a message to your offspring, will you agree to cease hostile actions? Marcus stared at her. You will let me call Maya? Quote her. I will allow you to transmit a message to your planet, but we can route it through your communication networks. However, there will be conditions. You will be monitored. You will return control of ship systems. You will submit to medical evaluation to ensure you have not been harmed during this incident. And then what? You still want to study me? The Lanata considered. Perhaps we need to revise our approach to human contact. You have demonstrated that your species does not respond well to involuntary collection. This was an error. We failed to account for variables in your psychological profile. You mean you did not think we would fight back? Correct. Most species do not. They are frightened. Compliant. You are neither. Marcus smiled slightly. Yeah, well, we have been fighting since we lived in caves. Predators, weather, each other. We got really good at it. Turns out those skills translate to spaceships too. So I have discovered. So can I make my call? The captain gestured to her communications officer. A nervous Pelthian with too many fingers. Route a secure channel to Earth. Audio only. Trace the location designated for offspring Maya Webb. The officer's fingers danced across holographic controls. All channel open, Captain. There is a significant time delay due to distance. Approximately 40 seconds round trip. Marcus stepped up to the communication console. His hands were shaking slightly. How does this work? Just speak. The system will translate and transmit. He took a deep breath. Maya, baby, it is Dad. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I need you to listen. I am okay. I am safe. Something happened. Something impossible. And I cannot explain it right now. But I need you to know that I am coming home. I promise you I am coming home. I do not care what I have to do or how long it takes. I will be there for your game on Saturday. I love you more than anything in this entire universe. Tell Grandma I am okay. Tell her not to worry. I will see you soon. I love you, sweetheart. Silence fell over the bridge. Even species without strong parental bonds could recognize the emotion in his voice. They waited. 40 seconds felt like an eternity. Then, through the speakers, a young voice responded.
Daddy? Daddy? Where are you? I am scared.
Please come home. Marcus closed his eyes. When he opened them, there were tears. I will, baby. I promise. I will be home soon. Another pause. Okay. I love you too, Daddy. I will tell Grandma. Please hurry. I will. Be brave for me. The connection ended. Marcus turned back to Captain Nara. His face was wet, but his expression was determined. Thank you. Now tell me what I have to do to get back to Earth. That is complicated, the captain admitted. We are currently 3.7 light years from your star system. At standard cruising speed, the return journey would take approximately 9 days. 9 days. Maya's game is in 5 days. Yes. However, the Morchak paused, considering there may be an alternative. We are scheduled to rendezvous with a supply convoy in 14 hours. That convoy includes a fast courier ship capable of achieving 0.9 light speed. If I could convince them to detour to Earth, the journey time could be reduced to approximately 4 days. Would they do that? Not under normal circumstances. However, after today's events, I suspect I can make a compelling case that returning you to your home world immediately is in everyone's best interest. Marcus actually laughed. You are scared of humans now. Let us say we have developed a healthy respect for your species' capabilities. You have single-handedly caused more damage and chaos than any research specimen in survey fleet history. The incident reports alone will take weeks to file. High Command will want to know everything. And when they learn what one human did to a fully staffed research vessel, I suspect our protocols for your world will change dramatically. Vrelt shuffled forward nervously. Marcus Webb, I must apologize. Our collection methods were inappropriate. We treated you as a lesser being when clearly your species deserves consideration as equals, or potentially as something we should avoid entirely. I accept your apology, Marcus said. But you need to understand something.
You got lucky.
You grabbed a mechanic from the middle of nowhere. What if you had taken a soldier, an engineer, a scientist? Someone actually trained for conflict? I am just a guy who fixes cars and loves his kid. Imagine what an actual dangerous human could do. Plixo made a small whimpering sound. Furthermore, Marcus continued, you need to leave Earth alone, all of you. We are not ready for this. We do not have unified government. We do not have the technology to defend ourselves. If you keep taking people, eventually you are going to take the wrong person, or take enough people that we notice. And when we notice, When we figure out what is happening, humans will not just fight back, we will find you. We will reverse engineer your technology. We will come out into space angry and armed, and absolutely convinced that we are the victims. Do you want that? The Lenara felt her circulation system run cold. You are threatening us. I am warning you, as someone who actually likes you despite this whole mess. The humanity has fought wars over less. We hold grudges. We never forget.
Leave us alone.
Until we come to you on our own terms. Trust me, it will be better for everyone. The captain looked at her crew. She saw agreement in their expressions. Fear too. I will file a recommendation with the Galactic Council, she said finally. Earth will be designated a protected world. No contact until your species develops independent faster-than-light capability. Bonneuf. How long will that take? Unknown. Decades perhaps. Maybe longer. Marcus nodded slowly. Good. Gives us time to grow up a little. Maybe figure out that whole unified government thing, and when we do eventually join your galactic community, we will do it as partners, not specimens. Agreed. Now, about that courier ship, I will make the arrangements immediately. In the meantime, you will be assigned guest quarters, actual guest quarters, not a containment cell. We will provide food, rest, anything you require. Consider yourself an honored visitor rather than a research subject. Can I keep the space wrench? It is really cool. Vrelt made a choking sound. You may keep the molecular spanner, the Lenara said, with what might have been amusement. Consider it a gift, along with our profound relief that this incident did not escalate further. Marcus smiled. The first genuinely friendly expression he had shown since his capture. You know, if circumstances were different, I think we could be friends. Your ship is amazing. Your technology is incredible. I have about 1,000 questions about how everything works. Perhaps when your species joins the galactic community you will have opportunity to learn, the captain said. You have the curiosity and intelligence. You simply also have the aggression and protectiveness that makes you dangerous. It is called being human. We are complicated like that. Over the next 14 hours, Marcus Webb became something of a celebrity aboard the Infinite Curiosity. Crew members, who had not been involved in trying to stop him, found him fascinating. He answered questions about Earth. He demonstrated human technology using his smartphone, which had somehow survived the abduction. He taught a group of junior science officers how to play poker, won all their ration chits, then gave them back and taught them about bluffing. He also, to Vrelt's absolute horror, fixed a malfunctioning waste recycler that engineering had been struggling with for 3 weeks. Took him 20 minutes. When the courier ship arrived, Captain Thelenara personally escorted Marcus to the docking bay. The pilot's name is Kesix. He is not happy about the detour, but he has agreed. You should reach Earth in 4 days, 7 hours. Plenty of time for Saturday's game, Marcus said with satisfaction. Marcus Webb. I have one final question. What will you tell your people about this experience? Marcus considered. The truth. But who is going to believe me? Guy gets abducted by aliens, fights a spaceship full of them and gets dropped back home 4 days later? They will think I had a breakdown, or hit my head when my truck broke down. No proof means no problem. You do not wish for your world to know about us? Not yet. Like I said, we are not ready. But someday we will be. And when humans finally make it out here on our own, when we show up with our own ships and our own technology, maybe you guys will remember that we can be reasoned with, that we are not just violent, that we protect what we love, and maybe that will be enough. The Lenara extended a limb. Marcus understood the gesture and shook it carefully. Safe travels, Marcus Webb, and give our regards to Maya. I will. And Captain, thanks for not shooting me. Thank you for not disabling life support. I thought about it, Marcus admitted with a grin. The courier ship was small, fast, and efficient. Kesix the pilot barely spoke during the journey, which suited Marcus fine. He spent most of the trip sleeping, eating strange alien food that was surprisingly decent, and thinking about his daughter. When Earth finally appeared in the viewport, beautiful and blue and home, Marcus felt something tight in his chest finally relax. The pilot dropped him exactly where he had been taken from. Route 66. Middle of the desert. His truck still sat on the shoulder, hood up, looking exactly as he had left it. Your temporal displacement has been calculated, Kesix said in his clicking voice. Why you will arrive 4 hours after your departure. This should minimize paradox complications. Appreciated. Hey, Kessex, one thing. Do you guys have families?
People you care about.
The pilot's antennae twitched. I have a podmate, 3 offspring. Then you understand. I do. Safe journey, human Marcus. The transportation beam activated one final time. Marcus materialized next to his truck, stumbled, caught himself, and immediately checked his phone. 4 hours and 12 minutes since the breakdown. He had messages from his mother asking where he was. One from Maya's coach confirming Saturday's game time. Everything was normal. Everything was fine. He looked up at the stars for a long moment. Somewhere up there, the infinite curiosity was continuing its mission. World was probably filing reports. Captain Thilanara was probably drinking whatever aliens drank after a truly terrible day. And humans remained blissfully unaware that they had been noticed by a galaxy full of civilizations who had decided, unanimously and immediately, that humans should be left completely alone until they were ready. Marcus opened his toolbox, pulled out his wrench, then paused. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the molecular spanner Thilanara had let him keep. He compared them. The alien tool hummed slightly in his hand, its mechanisms far beyond current human engineering. We will figure it out eventually, he said to the empty desert. Give us a few decades. We will get there. Then he got to work on his transmission. 2 days later, Marcus sat in the bleachers watching Maya play soccer. She scored a goal in the second half. He cheered louder than any other parent there. After the game, she ran to him and hugged him tight. I knew you would come, she said. Always, baby. Always. Daddy? That weird phone call? Where were you really? Marcus smiled. Just had some car trouble. Nothing I could not handle. You know me. I am good at fixing things. Yeah, you are. They walked to the parking lot hand in hand. Marcus looked up at the afternoon sky one more time. The stars were not visible in daylight, but he knew they were there, waiting, full of wonders and dangers and species who were smart enough to know that humans, for all their faults, loved fiercely and fought harder. Someday humans would go to those stars. But not today. Today was for soccer games, and daughters, and being home. And really, Marcus thought that was the most human thing of all.